I remember when I started living at Caroline W. Apartments on Capitol Hill in Seattle, Washington. When I moved in, there was women, female humans. Shortly thereafter, there was a man kicking on my door who said he was a veteran who had previously asked to see my paperwork and ignored my keys I showed him when I said, "I'm going home." And he followed me. He said there was problems since he had lived here since the building was built, with unannounced visitors and strangers walking around aimlessly now. His neck tightened up when I looked too long at his face. His eyes violent. His energy jittery. His blood pressure high. Another man who was his friend said, "No, that's not allowed. Not okay," when I opened a window in a hallway outside of my apartment to let some fresh air in and get the cigarette smoke and the tobacco scent from other apartments a few doors down out of a walkway towards an elevator now. A tall man, a short veteran. And then soon after, a woman who said, "Oh, you're smart," walked away quickly, would get frustrated faster, who wore tie-dye and made me dizzy when her and her partners would join forces and visit their garden they grew now. They said I couldn't sing. They said I was too loud in my kitchen, and told the Seattle Police Department I was a building murderer, defending my rights as a renter and a human on planet Earth. When a man gestures and dominates and demands his dick sucked now. Fellatio always makes the big boys happy and their women stimulated. And when I said with my knife, "I'm cooking in my kitchen," the police said they didn't have a problem now. They used their dominance in a building with health disabled tenants. Their building manager, their landlord, said what they did and what I did were much different. And what they were doing, observing me, made no difference. But me yelling and screaming and pleading and banging for help and freedom was not allowed now. And much too disruptive for their PTSD and the recovered, drug-addicted, alcohol-binged, tobacco brain now. And the quiet and the silence when I wasn't speaking and they were providing with their safety and security was more essential than a worker who was a nanny, a babysitter, a United States Navy chaplain applicant previously, a United States government applicant now, then. Before I was evicted from a Tibetan Chinese landlord's home with no explanation other than her hitting me in my stomach and saying to make sure to tell her next time before I call the police and report my property stolen, my laptop taken from a locked room I rented in her house. Now, the United States Marine Corps shoreline police officer took a report. I slept in a shelter in Queen Anne and was assaulted by a large African man who defended a drug dealer named another name I couldn't pronounce now, Abdul. And after my face was bloody and beaten, he said, no, he didn't touch me. Threatened me the next day in a bathroom where I was urinating, waiting to wash my hands. And ended up here now at these apartments. Tenants call a house and rooms. A landlord says on paperwork in a lease agreement, rent checks need to be made out to Caroline W. Apartments now. Listed on Google as community house, mental health treatment center, not updated to respect those they serve who are disabled, and not brilliant and intelligent as those psychologists and psychiatrists and dominant observers of behavior and self and ego, who require not only a mind, but a Sharia law and limits and restrictions and controls, not appreciated in a part of Seattle where they say fascists and cops need death more than compassion now. And so time has passed. I haven't heard from my social worker counselor in weeks, months, almost 3 months now. And the last I heard, I had an appointment they never kept, and I left phone calls they never returned now. And those men and those women who say they are pride, gender neutral, transgender flag carrying participants in equality, assisting and benefiting tenants in a building where they operate now. Indeed, they enjoy the freedom earned by their veteran friends and the leader of those dominant drug addicts, those drug dealers and cartel mafia economic sales associates now, who sell to humans who don't have the intellectual capacity to know they're being taken advantage of now and their consciousness they're receiving and their mindlessness they proclaim are making their life, their condition, their disorder, and their confusion worse and worse and worse. And those tacos and those nachos and those burritos and those chorizos and those Delta Force inspectors of bedbugs with their eyes have taken away human rights and replaced human rights with a culture, a diversity, an ethnicity, and some cultural awareness to help and assist those who need awareness when those drug addicts begin to echo, tap. When a coffee mug sets on a table, when I record and make a video for school application material, and posture more, and use their bodies more for a duality and violence, they say has to be acknowledged, appreciated, and respected, or else